goes spinning round and round. Starts with the sun and ends with the ground.
Hi, my name is Ashton Regal. I'm currently a student through William Woods in my course EDU 561. Today I would like to discuss with you the unit plan I have developed for a nonfiction writing research project for second grade students. The first thing that I would like to just set in place is that before my students would even begin this unit plan, which would most likely consist of either in the third or fourth quarter of the school year, the students would have to be able to fluently complete these learning games on the keyboard that comes from the site Learning Games for Kids, and you will see a picture of it here in just a second. Once they have mastered these games, they will be able to easily navigate through the keyboard, and it will also help them navigate through the sites that they're going to utilize very heavily in the research project. I would like to start discussing my unit plan by discussing the fact that I would be using the Assure model to help me guide my unit plan. The Assure model first starts with the phase Analyze the Learners. By analyzing the learners, I would be able to generalize the characteristics that I would have to utilize in my class to be able to successfully teach them. So since I am doing second grade, I would have to generalize that my class is second graders and keep in mind the ratio of boys and girls, because that will as well affect my teaching. The second phase is stating the standards and objectives. Stating the standards, I would like to go ahead and discuss with you the Common Core standards that I would be using in my unit plan, and they would also be completed as you go through the unit plan. The first Common Core standard is actually the first four Common Core standard, first three Common Core standards are all in the writing. And the first one is Writing 2.6. With guidance and support from adults, use a variety of digital tools to produce and publish writing, including in collaboration with peers. The next standard is Writing 2.7. Participate in shared research and writing projects. The next standard is Writing 2.8, which is recall information from experiences or gather information from provided resources to answer a question. And the last standard is actually in Speaking and Language, and it is Speaking and Language 2.5, which is create audio recordings of stories or poems, add drawings or other visual displays to stories, or recounts of experiences when appropriate to clarify ideas, thoughts, and feelings. So that is the standard part of that phase. The objective parts would be, I would follow the ABCD model in the Assure model. The A stands for the audience. And as I have stated, my audience is second graders. And then as you would get your class for the year, you would also be able to tell what your audience consists of as far as boys and girls and any other factors that might weigh into your unit plan. The B stands for behavior, and it's the expected behaviors that you want of your students during this unit plan. The first the behaviors I would like are discussed as students will treat equipment with care, students will follow directions first time asked, students will work on their own without bothering others, and students will complete work in a timely manner. The C stands for conditions. Students will use iPads, computers, library, and library books to research their writing project. Students will use the smartboard to present their final piece of their project. Students will handwrite their report in the report form with their best handwriting and no grammatical errors. And then the D stands for degree. Students must have all research done by the end of the second week of the project. Students must have handwritten report finalized by the end of the fourth week. Students should have the visual presentation of the project done by the end of the fifth week, unless deemed necessary that you would need more time in any of those weeks, then you may extend this time. And then the last week, week 6, students will present their final presentation, unless of course you have bumped all other weeks further out. Then the third phase is selecting strategies, technology, media, and materials. At this time, I just want to focus on the technology, media, and materials of phase 3. At this time, I would like to discuss the supplies and the materials that would be used during the unit plan. All supplies and materials are available on my site that has my unit plan completely listed out, and that will be listed at the end of this video for you to be able to visit. I have actually mentioned previously some supplies that the students would use, but I would just like to do a recap at this time. The students will use iPads, they will use computers, they will use the library, they will use library books, they will use our librarian as a media resource too. They will also use printers if necessary. They will use audio recorders. They will also use any computer programs that are required during the time. So for instance, Perez or Aminato, they may have to use that depending on if maybe they're one of those higher functioning students that needs to take the unit a little bit further for themselves. Some websites that they use, I will show you throughout this unit plan. And then the rubrics that are more for the teacher than for the student, they also are available on my site that you will be able to view at the end of this video. And those are very valuable resources that you will be using throughout the unit plan. I would then like to move into the fourth phase, which is utilizing the technology, media, and materials. This phase consists of 5 P's: preview technology, media, and materials, prepare the technology, media, and materials, prepare the environment, which you would be doing also by analyzing your audience in the first phase, and then prepare the learners and provide the learning experience. As you will see when you visit my site, I have the materials prepared and the other 4 P's are set in place as you navigate through the unit plan. So, like I mentioned, you will prepare the environment in the beginning and you also prepare the learners because you'll know your audience and you'll be able to set your classroom up in the way that needs to be for your class. The 5th phase requires the learner to participate, or requires learner participation. And for this part, it kind of breaks up into talking about the practice and then being able to evaluate them. For the practice part of this phase, I would like to discuss the 5 tools that I will be using during my unit plan. The 5 tools are a research site, or sites if we find more along the way, flipped classroom, writing simulations, audio recordings, and media presentation by the students. And in a few minutes, I will talk more in depth about those 5 tools as I walk you through my lessons. Then at conference time, so utilizing these tools when I conference with the students after their, actually every day after they've wrote some, I will use this necessary feedback to be able to help them in their final project. And then the last phase is evaluate and revise. To evaluate, I will use the rubrics that I created on the website Rubistar. These are also listed on my site. I will then evaluate myself as a teacher and an instructor. I will check for the students' full understanding and effectiveness of the lessons. As the unit is being taught, I will make sure to make notes to myself if something is ineffective, or go back and revise it when the unit is complete. Or if it's something that's completely great for the students and I want to make sure that I do use it the next time, I will also make notes of that. I will add more materials and lessons if I have evaluated myself and feel that students do need more materials and stuff to make the lesson more effective. So also, if students are great at finding additional information that we haven't came upon. So if I have a student that approaches me with a great research site that is safe and pertains to the topic, then I would add that to my lessons as well. Now, I would like to briefly discuss my lesson plans with you, which are also available on my site. So if you would like to look at them more in depth, you can go view them at my site. Okay, I would like to discuss my lesson plans now. For week 1 and 2, the Writer's Workshop mini lessons will consist of the appropriate way to research on the internet. The lessons will consist of the appropriate research sites to use, such as kidfriendlysearch.com. That is also on my site. And on this site, it is a list of like 4 to 5 different kid-friendly research sites that they can go view their animals on. Upon learning how to use the internet as a tool, they will also learn how to use the site. readwritethink.org. On this site, there's a link to this on my site as well. On this site are great graphic organizers that the students will be able to record their information into, and they can even print it off if they need a hard copy of it as they are doing their report. To record the collected information on this site, later in the weeks, the students will learn how to use books from the library to enhance their research process. At this time, I will also utilize our librarian to help further their understanding of research. During this time, too, they will record any useful information that they for sure want to include into their project on a voice recording app. This will be installed on their iPad. They will do this so that students tend to forget information. So by audio recording it, they will be able to go back and listen and review what information they need to add in their report. We will then move into week 3 and 4. These writer workshop lessons will consist of how a research report looks like. Every other day, I will present a new lesson on each part of the report. They will get a hard copy of what I want the report to look like, and at that time, during the lessons, we will take a part of each report or each part of the report and discuss what I am asking of them and give them examples, and they will then apply that to their own report. They will, if I see they need more time on one particular part, then I will, extend my lesson and wait to introduce a new part to another day. They're at the end of these weeks, of week 3 and 4, they will be required to have a rough draft, and then at the complete end of week 4, they need to have their final draft done. However, like I've mentioned, if it's deemed necessary, this time will be extended. During week 5, the students will make their comic strip, which is on the site Bubbler, which is also listed on my site. At this time, they will take their information that they have gathered and put into their report, and they will develop a small comic strip. I will also have, during this week 5, I will have many lessons explaining how to add each part to the comic strip. We will do one practice one as a class so that they can see how how to effectively go through the process. Again, if it is deemed necessary, they will have longer than week 5 to complete this project. And then in week 6 will be our presentation week. At that time, they will present their comic strip to the class. And if they do have a little bit more information that they want to inform the class of, they can do that too. But I don't want them standing up there reading their report, because that's the point of the comic strip, so that it's short but entertaining to the audience. And the flipped classroom comes in effect with all these lessons, because at the time of all my mini lessons and examples in the class, they will be recorded. And the recordings will be installed on the student computer and on the student iPad, so that if I do have a student that is not working at the same pace of another student and has forgotten the information or the mini lesson that I presented maybe a couple days ago, they will be able to go find the lesson on either the iPad or the computer, quickly watch the lesson, and hopefully be able to guide themselves through that part on the project then. This will then allow me to have more time to conference and work one-on-one with the students instead of having to constantly reteach the same lesson. Of course, again, like I've mentioned, all resources and sites are available on my site to view. You will also be able to view my unit plan on my site, and of course these lessons are not set in stone. If you feel that you need to extend any time or shorten any time for your classroom, that is up to your discretion. I hope you've enjoyed learning about my unit plan, and thank you.